I'm Diego Tinoco. Most people know me as an actor. However, I'm a nutcase. I love to do a lot of different things. I like to write. I like to make music. I like to obviously, do a podcast. Whatever way I like to say of expressing myself and staying out of trouble. That's what I like to do. And a podcast is one of those things. I started a podcast called On My Pod. We hit the charts as the number 6 podcast in TV and film within our first episode. And then after that, things took off and it got a little hectic as far as like trying to find a location, finding crew, cameras, and all this stuff. And that's sort of when I met you and the team and took our podcast to Burbank Podcast Studios. And yeah, we've been on it for a while now, and we're working on the next batch of episodes, next season, as I like to say. And yeah, it's a little bit about me. I think at the moment, it's currently young Latinos who are anywhere from the age of 13 to about 29, I would say. That's my current audience. Like I said, I couldn't have asked for a better audience. So supportive, the people. And that's primarily why I kind of try to get guests on the podcast who are, I guess, that the audience can relate to them. I've interviewed Ezekiel Pacheco, who is a DACA, actor. He's an actor in the United States who's currently on a DACA program. Who has had premieres in freaking across the world, like in Cannes and France, and he can't even go down there to fucking see his own movie premiere. And I like to get guests that my audience can relate to. Especially with all the shit that's going on right now. Because sometimes we see the polished stuff on social media where it's perfect and it's crystal clear and it's all rainbows and sunshines, but man, that ain't life, man. Life's fucking like it's very hard for a lot of us right now. And it's one of those things where it's like, dude, you can't shy away from it. And that's the beautiful thing about art. It's like once you like kind of open that curtain and you're not scared to show people what's really behind the curtain, I think that's when you get like badass art, and that's what makes people want to support it. So I really, again, I owe the audience, all the credit to us hitting the charts on the pod. It was the actor strikes in 2023, and I said, oh my god, I'm gonna go nuts if I don't do something, if I don't create something. So the two things that I created was I started a podcast and then I started an acting school. And the acting school, it just started kind of like I just put up a camera and I just started recording myself talking into the camera, talking about like the craft of acting, the business, all of this other, all the things, the technical stuff behind it and the arts side of it. And I loved it. I loved talking into a camera. I was like, oh shit. I was like, that was a lot of fun. And then I was like, well, what if I started a podcast? And I had done a show called On My Block. And my audience, the fans, again, they kept asking me, they're like, dude, when's the next season? When's the next season? I was like, shit, there's no next season, but you know what? Let me give you guys a little like spin-off, like a little podcast. And originally I was just going to make like 5 or 10 episodes, call it On My Pod. And then that was going to be it, have it be its own little thing. But, then I really thought about it and I was like, dude, there's a lot of people that I could interview that I know that I would love to interview and just sit down and have, the world hear their stories. So that's kind of how it started. It really was, if I'm being honest, it was a little selfish. It was just for me to just create and stay out of trouble. But then I realized how much people liked it and I was like, oh shit, I'm gonna keep doing this. And it's crazy because like, if I'm being honest too, like I feel like I do it more for the clips than I do for the actual long format. Like our clips get like millions of views, like hundreds of thousands of likes and, saves by people all around the world. But like the podcast itself actually doesn't do that well, which is fucking crazy. But it's strange. We're in a digital era now where it's like short form content. So, but I don't mind whatever is hitting with the audience. That's what I'm for. Honestly, I think I'm still in it. It's one of those things where it's like a podcast, as simple as it is, it requires time, energy, effort, and consistency. And I'm at a weird point in my life where I have my mind in a lot of different things, working on projects. We're getting ready to shoot a new movie, doing some music, working on an album. I got fucking like a novel I'm writing, like just doing a bunch of things because I'm an idiot. But I just love creating stuff. But I think the hardest part is just getting that team that's like down to create down to be in the trenches with you to like edit, chop, clips, do the thumbnail, maybe scratch certain things that aren't, on brand with the podcast just to make sure it runs smooth. Like just finding that team, I think that's where I'm kind of struggling still to this day. Kind of like my dream would be to just show up, know who I'm interviewing, know what I'm asking, and then have a team that just like handles the uploads and all that stuff. Cause it was me and my girl who were doing the clips and like, editing the she was posting everywhere. And I had a buddy who was editing too, but then he got a job and I'm like, ah shit. So it's one of those things, dude. I'm still trying to figure it out, like get the right team um attached to it. So that's been the most challenging part. But the podcasting itself, like that's the funnest part. Like sitting down with the person, getting to chat. Like the best thing is when you don't even have to think about the questions, where you're just like, oh, this is gonna be sick. I can just talk to them and ask them questions, and then the conversation starts flowing, and you start genuinely asking questions that you genuinely want to ask. Like I think the biggest mistake people make when doing a podcast is they think they should be asking the questions that they should be asking, and it's like, no, ask what you're curious about, because that's when you get these weird answers and like the curiosities, because you're actually interested. So yeah, that's a tip I have for anybody doing a podcast. Oh, that's a good question. Um, I'd have to touch on how I thought it was so easy. I was like, dude, clips. I was like, that's the easiest thing in the world. And then I had to edit a few of my clips. And I was like, oh my god, it's gonna take me a freaking year to do. I think just managing it. Like it does require time and effort. It does require like somebody to really manage it. Posts on, you got TikTok, Instagram, Reels, you have Twitter, Threads, you have YouTube clips, then you have the YouTube long format, you have the YouTube thumbnail, which is you can do on Canva. Then you have for anybody who's not watching this, just a little pro tip. Start posting on trial reels. Trial reels on Instagram goes crazy. Then there's Meta. There's so many different apps. I know people do Snapchat too. So it's one of those things where I'm like, dude, fuck. I'm like, I love creating stuff, putting it out there, but right now, like, it's just one of those things where I'm looking for that team that's like able to handle all the logistics for me and do all that stuff. I guess another misconception would be maybe, I didn't realize how I I I get kind of nervous sometimes when I'm interviewing people that I really like the other day I interviewed Ryan Guzman and I was like nervous as hell. So I don't know why, but I just I didn't realize, um it's similar to like being on a movie set. You get nerves, but then once you start, it like goes away, you know. And usually I like being interviewed, but interviewing kind of gets, sometimes I'm like, oh shit, okay, know what you're gonna say next. So that's the only thing. Sometimes, but sometimes it just flows easier. That's a great question. Yeah, I think it's taught me how to maintain a conversation and how to have this social awareness of kind of like setting yourself up, whether it's for business, whether it's you're on a date with your girl, whether it's, you're talking to a friend, like how to really, I guess, I don't want to say extract information because that sounds kind of like I'm a spy here, but kind of like, yeah, like how can we make sure that a conversation is fulfilling, interesting, informative, and feel good. I feel like those are the things that like I really go for. Like I don't ever want somebody to listen to my podcast and be like, dude, that was so boring. I'm so depressed. Like given shit might get depressing sometimes, but that's just us being real. But I always try to make sure that like, okay, we're ending off on a high positive note. People learned something, they felt something, we made them laugh, we made them cry, we taught them something. That's my biggest goal that I learned from podcasting to also apply into my life, into my conversations. And sometimes I fall short of it, but I kind of like, sometimes if I ever feel like I'm lacking with somebody that I'm hanging out with or somebody that I love, I'm like, fuck, just pretend there's a camera there and you're doing this for the podcast, because then that, when the camera's on you, everyone's sharp, everyone's perfect, right? And people are putting in mad effort. So that's kind of like something that I've taken from the podcasting into my own life. Anytime I see myself slacking, I'm like, well, dude, put in the effort for the people who aren't on camera, just give them your best self too. If I had to start over from scratch, I would have gone straight to Burbank Podcast Studios, dude. Like legit. I like legit, because the problem that we had was like we hit the top of the charts. It was super fast. We like, rented out my director John Stahlberg's house. He was Airbnb. I fucking like clicked on his house and I saw the owner is John Stahlberg, my director. So I called him. I'm like, dude, can I rent out your house? Like, I want to shoot a podcast. The strikes just happened. I'm super bored and I have nothing else to do. So we rented out his house for like a week, me and some buddies. And it was all fun. It was all nice. And it was all, it was a good time. But production took like 7 months for these guys to edit the episodes. And, given they edited them, they did a great job. I will never take that away. But, again, staying consistent is a super important thing. And I think, we hit the top of the charts. We got a little cocky. Then we were late on like the deadlines. And before you know it, we missed a few uploads. We missed a few clips. And then before you know it, it's like you have to stay consistent with anything, dude. It's not just podcasting. It's fucking sports, finance, relationships. It's everything. You have to stay consistent. And I think in a time of like where we're around so many distractions that sometimes, the distractions are what prevent us from staying consistent. And yeah, I guess again, I'm still learning how to, balance it all out, because, we're only human. But yeah, um, still learning. Starting it, I would say, you know, kind of making sure the tech stuff is set up, like you never want to walk away. Like one time we shot an episode, not at Burbank, put out another studio, and we like one of our cameras overheated, and we weren't able to get that footage, and it was my coverage, and I was like, fuck. I was like, dude, now we lost my coverage. So, and it was fine. We like zoomed in on like the wide on me, but like you could tell that it was, we lost that angle. And so just make sure that like all your tech stuff is set up. Like do a few trial runs. Like don't go straight for the kill. That's another thing. Like I have shot episodes before Burbank, before the other pod studio I'm telling you about. I shot episodes that I never released, and I just shot them for fun. Like everybody's always trying to shoot things and like being like, okay, this is the one that's gonna blow me up, and it's like, no, that's the one that you're gonna fuck up, and that's the one where you're gonna learn all the things you need to learn, and then you're gonna apply it to the body of work that you're about to make, and from that body of work, then you're gonna get something that hits gold. I think both are important. So coming from a business point of view, if I was a studio exec, first thing I would do, if I was Netflix, the first thing I would do is I would make sure that every single TV show has a podcast where we're interviewing the actors, we're getting BTS stuff, we're interviewing the crew, the grips, everybody, catering, everyone. Hey, catering team, what's Diego's favorite dessert? What's Diego's favorite like meal? Like let's and make it fun, like not so serious, like but like everyone, a glimpse of everyone, like hey, like asking questions about the cast. Right, because at the end of the day, the fans do want to learn about the cast, the story, the writers, the directors, and that stuff. But I would try to incorporate everyone. That way it's fun. That way it's from everyone's point of view. So from a business point of view, every network should do that for their TV shows, 1000%. Because all they're doing is getting clips from every single actor's. Dude, we live in a clip. We live in an attention economy, and clips run the world right now. Clips run the world. Whether it's a clip for a movie, an interview, music, whatever, clips run the world. You get them on the clips. That's how the long format, whether it's a movie, a song, whatever it is, that's how you move the audience there. So that would be the smartest thing that studios like Netflix, Warner Brothers, Sony, and all those guys could do. They're not doing it. I don't know why. I feel like they're leaving so much on the table. I get it. Hollywood, right? Illusion, mystery. But I would have to argue that time is dead, man. I don't think that time is, I don't think we live in a world where people want to give you their hard-earned money to go watch you when they know nothing about you, and they don't like when you're not even relatable. You're just like, again, everyone's different. I'm just speaking from what I've seen, from what I've heard. There's a quote. It's like, why are people going to spend money to go see you in theaters when they just saw you every day online for free? And it's like, well, why are they gonna spend money to go see you in theaters when you've never even given them anything? You've never given them anything. No attention, no advice, no life, anything. Like, so it varies, man. If I mean, personally, I'm doing a lot right now. Like I'm doing the school, the pod, this, that. I try to be very active on social media, and it's for a lot of reasons. Number one, that's just who I am, dude. Like I like posting shit. I just like some people don't some people don't like doing it. Totally fine, man. Um, you know, I think there's an art to kind of finding your rhythm and who you are by posting stuff online, and you definitely don't want to experiment before before you know have a grasp on who you are, because you don't there's nothing worse than trying to find yourself in the spotlight and then people are like, "Oh my god, you do that?" Or then it's like, "Wait, what?" It's like, you know what I mean? So I understand where actors come from when they don't want to post. A lot of it, dude, artists, being an artist is a real fucking thing. Like there are real artists who are like, "Yo, I'm kind of a weirdo, man. I'm kind of an extrovert or an introvert and there's just some things that I don't want the world to see." So, and even for me, like there's some things that I'll never share with the world. That's just for me, for my art, for my acting, for my music, whatever. But there's a lot of things that I do want to share, you know? So I guess it's every individual is different. All I could say is, dude, I mean, I think I've made like more money from like social and social media endorsements than like I have from acting gigs. Like it's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy. It's like, dude, I don't want to ever depend on acting, just acting. And then there's another strike that happens that lasts 2 years with this new AI wave, right? So I'm a big believer and I'm a big champion for, hey man, like you got to take care of your family, you got to take care of your mother. So make sure that you're good so that you're never stressed, pulling out your hair, trying to book that audition, then you don't book it, and you go on a fucking bender, you know what I mean, for like 6 months and then burn yourself out emotionally because you don't have the financial stability. You know, they say money don't make you happy, but it's like I could promise you not having money definitely adds a lot of fucking stress. I've been there, you know, we've all been there and we know that like it's no joke. So for anybody who does have a platform, some attention, some currency, learn how to infuse who you are, something that you're actually passionate about, and how to create value to where you are creating you know, some income. Truly, I couldn't give you a definitive answer there because I've heard both sides of the coin. I've heard of influencers who, you know, get the world handed to them for an acting gig. But then I've also heard of them like, you know, working their ass off, having to audition, getting the final rounds of the callback. So I have heard and I have seen it happen, but I don't think it's happening at a rate that actors who are grinding, putting in the work, constantly auditioning, crushing it with the callbacks with the directors and the casting directors. I don't think that they should be in fear of it. Maybe occasionally they'll lose a role, yeah, maybe, but I I don't know if it's happening as often as I think people think it's happening. That being said, great acting is great acting. Shit acting is shit acting. You know what I'm saying? Like I've seen actors who train their whole lives are just they're terrible. And I've seen influencers who they just got it, man. They got that natural pacing. They got that kind of you know, this in acting it's really important that you have like this this essence, this you know, the word that all the kids say now is aura, you know, but this presence, it's important to have a presence where you don't become dependent and need the camera to like you. And I guess at the end of the day, an influencer is what? They're making content online. 9 out of 10 times it's themselves on camera. So dude, I mean, if they're making 10, 20 videos a week, that's 20 more times than an actor is putting themselves on camera. So I actually would argue, it's probably not a very valid argument. Al Pacino will probably, you know, slap me if he heard me say this, but I would argue that a lot of actors should be making content. They should be making content. Now, given content has this weird reputation of like, I gotta do a TikTok dance. Like, no, it's bullshit. Record something. Make a short film on your phone. Make a funny skit. Talk to the camera. Share something that's on your chest. Because art is always evolving. We used to think the radio would never get replaced. Then black and white, you know, movies came, silent films, and silent films turned into movies with sound. Art is always evolving, and I promise you right now, it will evolve from what it is right now. I'm telling you this firsthand because I have friends who are showrunners and directors, producers. Hollywood is not doing great. It's doing really bad, really, really bad. Like for actors, for producers, for writers, you know, I think 2% of SAG makes the bare minimum to qualify for health insurance, which is $28,000. about $28,000. Including my fucking self. There was one year where, again, luckily I have different sources of income. So, I'm not saying I'm chilling, but I'm not dependent on just acting. But there was one year where I didn't even qualify for that. And I was like, and it was because of the strikes, bro. So the strikes, I had a movie lined up. I didn't work that whole year. So I didn't make enough money from SAG to qualify for my health insurance. Given, again, I had the income from other sources. So, but I didn't get my health insurance from SAG. But bro, only 2% of like SAG actors make that bare minimum. That means 98% of actors don't even work. There's like 200,000, I want to say like 200,000 actors at least. No, I think there's way more. That sounds way too low. There's a bunch of actors who really don't work. And now it's even gotten worse. Dude, I encourage everybody, start fucking creating online. Like it's so fucking important. Gary Vee's always talking about it. It's like, bro, create anything. I mean, dude, I'll be watching content on YouTube, shitty lighting. It's just some dude talking in his garage, but he's talking about something interesting that's relatable, man. And I think in a time of like social media, I think social media has made us all feel kind of more distant than ever. So right now I think there's a spike, and when you talk about relatable shit, like people want to watch it, they want to connect. At the end of the day, dude, we're humans. Like we get lonely, we get anxiety, we have fucking trauma, and we have a crazy ex-girlfriend or crazy uncle, like we all want to laugh, we all want to smile. And it's like, dude, if you put something out there that people want to watch, they'll continue to grow with you and grow with you and grow with you. And I couldn't tell you if it's a good thing, a bad thing. All I know is that it's happening. It's gonna evolve, and you either move with it or you get left behind. And I think truly we've never been in a time, dude, where digital currency is free, accessible, and anybody has a shot. Like anybody has a shot. I've seen accounts with 20 followers, 100 followers get 10 million views. And it's crazy. It's because the algorithm is about the quality of the content, the relatability. Before it used to be how many followers did you have? Whoever had the high followers got the numbers, the high numbers. Now it's like, well, who's putting out the most relatable content that people want to see? So I don't know if it's a good thing. I really don't. I will see it. Only time will tell. But it's happening right now. And if it's putting a smile on people's face and people are feeling a sense of community, then it sounds pretty good to me. Nah. I think it's going to wipe everything out, if I'm being honest. If I'm being completely cynical here and sinister, I think it's going to wipe everything off. It's going to change everything. I think it's already changing everything. I think, I think it's pretty scary. And I think if there's not laws and regulations that kind of slow it down or at least prohibit it from attacking the arts, as far as movies, television, music. I just heard a band on Spotify that is 100% AI. And it sounds, dude, I'm be honest, it sounds pretty cool. And this is the worst that it'll ever be. So it's only up from here, right? So I'm pretty worried, to be honest. I'm fearful that if there's not strong restrictions laid down, I literally just got an email from SAG saying that that we need to vote against certain AI things because the government's not gonna put any restrictions on them, and it could take a lot of jobs, man. Again, I'm pretty fearful of it, I'm like saying the redcoats are coming here, but we'll see. I could be wrong, I would highly recommend, as long as there's humans will always need connection and community. So I believe that AI will probably wipe out a lot of things. However, the one thing they cannot wipe out is a sense of community and connection. So I encourage anybody who's watching this to think, how can I build community? How can I build connection? If you have those two, as long as there's people alive, dude, you'll be good. You'll be good. It doesn't matter if there's a shitload of AI things. As long as you build those two, it might even, I have a theory that it's going to go back to live theater. I have a strong theory that in 10 years, live theater will make the biggest comeback it's ever seen because AI will dominate the digital stuff, but humans will always need a sense of, dude, who doesn't like going to a night out? A night out to whatever, dude. It could be the movie theater, an orchestra, a concert, a play, church, when people go out to church on Sundays, like besides, obviously worshiping it, it also gives us a sense of like community. you're there, you're out, you're doing something. You feel good, you're motivated. And again, bro, life's that's all it's about. Community, connection, purpose. Sure. Yeah, the Actors Campus, it's 100% online acting school for anyone from anywhere to learn how to break into acting. No, I'm not going to turn you into a big ass movie star overnight just by snapping my fingers like that. If anyone ever promises you guys that, that's a big ass scam. No. However, what I can do is I can provide all of the tools to literally anybody from all around the world how to break into acting. And I'm not just saying that I'm teaching people how to act. Yes, I'm giving you all the information. Yes, I'm giving you all the PDFs, the resources. I'm giving you the weekly live training where every Sunday I'm literally teaching all my kiddos in there how to act. I'm telling them, I'm teaching about the self-tape, the frame. We do weekly in-person events. We'll go into the studio. We all cook up a monologue, a scene. I have them do Meisner exercises where they're all on stage. They're getting out of their heads. Again, remembering what it's like to be a human being in like a body, right? And we do that. That's kind of like my passion project that I've been working on, and I absolutely love it. And we have a showcase in there, which is incredible. A lot of people don't know this, but Hollywood went 100% remote, like 100%. Like it's Zoom. Like if I have an audition, I do a thing called I'm literally at my self-tape setup right now, my lights, and I set up my camera. I do my audition. I send my audition. I hear back from casting director. They have a meeting with the director. I have my laptop. I do my audition again via Zoom here. And that's literally what gets you booked on these movies and TV shows. So for anybody who's a dreamer of acting, like I recommend taking an online class. It doesn't even have to be mine, but I'm saying recommend taking an online class, getting good at this, the frame, learning the technical stuff and the business behind it and all that stuff, and crushing it at that. Because if you crush it at this, that's what's going to get you on the TV set, on the movie set. Given my school is 100% free the first 3 days, so you could realistically, somebody could hop on there, watch everything, download everything, get the hell out of there, not spend a dollar, and be like 90% ahead of everybody in the world when it comes to like the knowledge, the business, and all that stuff. However, I recommend staying because every week, every other month, we do monthly in-person meetups. We'll do screenings. I'll have a director come in for a Q&A. So it only helps, dude. And again, like if you want to be great at something, you have to surround yourself with people who are about it. Michael Jordan didn't surround himself with with soccer players. He surrounded himself with basketball players who were surrounded with coaches. You kind of need that to be competitive. You need that to grow. Look, if I was an influencer with a few million followers, I would 100% entertain the possibility of becoming an actor. I would 1000% take my course. This isn't me just shamelessly plugging myself in here. Again, my goal with this school is to make it the number one online education system for actors, for the arts. Eventually, I want to teach writers and directors. I'm not a writer or director, so I'd have to hire some people. So obviously, to hire people, you need more students, subscriptions to grow the school, right? And I'm super open about that stuff. I want to open schools around the world that are in person, safe, affordable. So I do want a bunch of students, but if I was an influencer, the reason I would join is because it's like, dude, I'm getting all the resources here. I get a whole list of a bunch of agents and managers who I can literally reach out to via Zoom. I teach everybody how to reach out to them, how to contact them. I literally have written emails with templates of them for just to copy and paste and send it to them. Acting, I wouldn't say make acting your baby, because if you're crushing in the social media game, like continue that, build your empire there, but also entertain the idea of like, hey, maybe I should get an agent manager, start auditioning. Because if you're telling me that, influencers are getting more callbacks and this and that, well, it's like, why not put yourself out there and find out if you're a good actor or not, if they want to work with you. You might as well. An audition takes what, like 2 hours every time. You get 2 a week, 3 a week. I watch a lot of Gary Vee. I like Alex Hormozy. I like those guys. They're just always fired up, those guys. Daniel G. Those guys are always fired up. So I like seeing that stuff. I don't know if I can make content with them because they're very like business oriented and I'm kind of a hippie. I like, artsy stuff. I think I'd probably want to make content with, I've interviewed a lot of actors, but I'd want to make content with directors. Like I think diving into like Quentin Tarantino's brain or like Christopher Nolan or like Martin Scorsese and kind of like I don't know, it's talking about cinema and kind of comparing that to like content, as silly as that sounds. It's because it's very similar. A lot of people are gonna talk shit on this and be like, he's crazy, cinema is not content. But if you watch any movie, it kind of follows the same structure, right? In the first act, literally the first like 5 minutes, first 3 pages, you have to hook the audience. You look at Goodfellas, they literally are opening the trunk, the guy's like dead, he's like bleeding, you know what I'm saying? That's the hook. You hook the audience. Then you introduce the story to the audience. And then at the end, you have a crazy plot twist, a hook, another like revelation there that is gonna leave the audience like, oh my God, that was brilliant. How did I not see that coming? You know, Quentin Tarantino's rules to screenwriting. In the first act, you want the characters to know more than the audience. In the second act, you want the audience to know just as much as the characters in the movie. And in the third act of the movie, you want the audience to know more than the characters in the movie, right? And you can kind of apply that into content making and cinema. And the greatest creators, they do that. You look at Mr. Beast, he kind of follows this weird like 3-act structure to his content, you know? So yeah, I think that's really interesting. I'd want to kind of talk to directors about that and see where their thoughts are on cinema and evolving and all that stuff. I've had a fan ask me to like be a sperm donor for her, and I was like, nah, I ain't doing that, man. That's crazy. I was like, I'd have to be like dead broke to be out here selling my sperm. I don't know about that. So I was like, nah. Yeah, Canva for thumbnails. I think CapCut has this cool AI feature where it gets rid of the pauses in between your when you're talking. I think Adobe might do it too. Adobe's kind of I'm not as good as it. I like simplicity, so CapCut for me is like super simple. Then there's an app called Captions, the Captions app. I love that one. It's $9.99 a month. I love that one though. It has the best captions. You can stylize them. It's been the most accurate. CapCut has it too, but it's for some reason it just, I don't know. The Captions app's really good. It also translates your subtitles into a different language, which is really cool. They have I've been seeing, I don't know the exact app, but they have an app that like translates your podcast into a different language. That's super helpful. I think if you get clips in different languages, that's pretty badass. Um, ChatGPT, obviously, if you don't know what to ask questions, like there's been times where, I've plenty of times where I ChatGPT'd, what do I ask this person? And it's like, yeah, it just helps you, I think as of right now, it enhances creativity. I don't think it completely replaces creativity, but I would say just do it, man. Just do it. Don't think too much about it. Don't be like, oh my God, am I gonna be cringe and this is gonna be weird? Like, just do it. Who gives a shit if it's cringe? Like, too many people think like, oh my God, what if I look dumb? It's like, well, you already know what's gonna happen if you don't do it, like nothing. But if you do it, who knows? Like something beautiful might happen. You might connect with an audience member that's like, yo, oh my God, these guys changed my life. And then you have like a day one fan forever, and then you just grow that. And at the end of the day, it's all about connection and community. So if you can build on top of that, and then just be yourself too. Don't try to be something that you're not, because that shit gets exhausting as hell. It gets so exhausting. Then you have to remember like who you try to put up, the persona that you were, and the lies or this and that. So I would just say, be yourself, chase connection and community, and don't be scared to be cringe. That's like the dumbest thing ever. Like being cringe, like so what, dude? There's so many fucking problems in the world. Like being cringe, I promise you, no one's thinking about you posting that clip on Instagram at 2 a.m. when their bills aren't paid. Like, you know what I'm saying? No one cares. So just do it.